So, welcome everybody to Book Academy October 2025. This is our 46th meeting. Can't believe it.
Woohoo!
Nearly 4 years of meetings. It's gone incredibly quickly. Can anybody remember the first book that we discussed?
Mm-mm.
It was the London one.
Charing Cross Road.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Charing Cross
84
Road.
Charing Cross Road. Anyone that will shout out any other books that we've read that they can recall that stuck with them? Not last month's because that was too easy.
The Octopus.
Which was called
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Oppenheimer.
Don't. Chris will leave if you mention Oppenheimer.
Captain Tom.
Yeah.
The Captain Tom.
Yeah.
The octopus one was Remarkably Bright Creatures.
Yes.
Did we do How to Kill Your Family?
We did.
Yes.
We
Yeah,
did.
that was
Yeah.
January, not this year, last year.
Mm.
Wabi Sabi?
You're looking at a list somewhere. When your
Yes.
books, you're looking at your books on your shelf.
Your command of the obvious is overwhelming.
It's really obvious when you're going,
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not even looking at it. I'm just hoping people can remember. So, right. So, I'm going to go on with no further ado. If David in real life is ready to go with his word corner, are you ready? I shall make you able to share. There you go. Hopefully, you should be able to share your screen now.
Yeah, there it is. Okie dokie. Right, good evening. Lovely to see you in person. Let's get that there. Okie doke, 28th of October. Here we are, actually live. So what have I been doing while I was away? So we did sponsor a football match and then there've been various rehearsals. So one of the things I've done since I last saw you was Saturday Night Cleaver. That was our murder mystery at the local village hall, murder mystery and three-course meal. It was set in 1975. That was the staff of the hotel, the last resort where the murder, or in fact murders, took place. And my character was called Ray Merridick. There he is. Good-looking fellow. And I turned out to be the murderer as well. Killed three people in the space of 20 minutes. There we go. So that was the first for me, being a murderer and having a moustache like that, and a last, hopefully. 1975 moustache. Anyway, there we go. That's one of the things I've been doing. And then last time, the video that I did was about AI. I talk about AI a lot, but AI is going to change language, but language is always in a state of flux anyway. I think we mentioned why you need a pencil for a cassette. And if you're over 45, you'll probably know that. If you're under 45, you might not. And we talked about some other numbers, and we'll come back to another number mysteriously later on. We talked about records, and it was really about generations and different generations having to communicate with each other for the first time, really, in the workplace. We've got four, possibly five different generations, and they have different views of the world and different ways of talking to each other. So I shoehorned in one of my favorite optical illusions, which is that those two colors, top and bottom, are exactly the same. It's just in a different context. They look different. So yeah, we can be saying something and think we mean one thing, and other people hear totally different things. So J. Edgar Hoover wrote a or read a memo and scribbled on it, "Watch the borders," and all his agents were wondering whether it was Mexican borders, Canadian borders, and it turned out to be the borders of the page that he was talking about. So clarity of language is important, and when generations clash, you get these mismatches of information. And communication changes over time. So that was my phone number growing up, Medway 364659. That's what I used to say when I answered the phone. Then later on we say hello or David speaking. And now Gen Z don't say anything when they answer the phone. They just wait for you to talk because you've phoned them. So whether we're communicating with text, as Jerry was saying there, whether we're doing it with language, whether we're on the phone, whether we're using emojis and going back to the original hieroglyphs that the Egyptians used, language is always evolving. Anyway, quick random question. A few months ago, we did words and whether you say bun or roll or hob, depending on what part of your scone and scone and those kind of things. So I just came across this map. It's nothing to do with language really, but I thought it was quite fun because I'm a very big crisp aficionado. So what is your favorite crisp flavor? Now, the obvious answer is Marmite, because that's the best crisp flavor, but this is out of the top, the most common three. So salt and vinegar, cheese and onion, and ready salted. So just have a think, which is your favorite? You can pop it into the chat if you want to, and then we'll have a look whether you match the people in your part of the country, because there's a map for what your favorite crisp flavor is, whether it's cheese out of cheese and onion, ready salted, and salt and vinegar. But those chicken, Dennis, thank you. Prawn cocktail, yeah, we're not following the rules here, are we? C and O. What's it? Okay. This is just S and V, salt and vinegar. Okie dokie, okie dokie. Well, America's not included in the map, unfortunately, Jerry. So crinkle cut beef and ordinary crisp smoky bacon. Thank you for that. I'll still tell you, Marmite are the best since Marks and Spencer stopped doing the really nice barbecue beef and onion ones of my childhood. Anyway, that's the map. So here in Lincolnshire, apparently we're salt and vinegar people, as we are in Kent, where I grew up. So out of those three, salt and vinegar is definitely my favourite. But cheese and onion seems very popular in Wales, and ready salted in a few of the more boring counties like Suffolk and Hampshire and Dorset, is that? Somerset. There we go. Anyway, I just came across that. I thought it was fun. That's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about crisps. As the book is Regeneration, I thought we'd just have a little delve into how war affects language and words that have come into usage from war and warfare and weapons and that kind of thing. So we're talking about regeneration, and I haven't finished it, but obviously one of the themes in there is people losing the ability to talk because of the traumas that they've been through, because of not wanting to face the experiences that they've had as we go through. And like a lot of people, I was first exposed, if you like, to language and war through war poetry at secondary school. Wilfred Owen. I think the first poem that I came across was an amazing poem called Dulce Decorum Est, which a lot of you will know. Bent double like old beggars undersat, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs and towards our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep, etc. To finish with Dulce Decorum Est pro patria mori. So did that in English in O level, I think, and then actually saw the other side of it because I did languages. In German A level, we read Im Westen nichts Neues, which is known in English as All Quiet on the Western Front. Read the book. We went to the cinema. I had an outing to go and see the original 1930 German film of Im Westen nichts Neues, which I still remember having quite an effect on me. And then later I appeared in Oh, What a Lovely War, which is about World War One as well, which is it's a pretty good production. I keep thinking I ought to direct that one day. So language, literature, poetry, drama can come out of war, but language comes out of war as well. Quick check in the chat. Are we still talking about crisps? Yeah. Already salted with salt packets. Lady, you're showing your age there. Anyway, first recorded language about war goes back to really the origins of writing. The Sumerians in 3200 or so BC invented writing, really recording language. And the first war account story is of the Sumerians and their battle against the inhabitants of Elam, which is modern day Basra in Iraq. So still haven't really sorted out their problems there. So that's really where we start to get literature. Well, we call it literature, get writing certainly about war. And then through Egypt, this is Tutmosis III, who was the victor at the Battle of Megiddo. I do have that written down, Megiddo. So that's Tutmosis. So stories told through early forms of language, through hieroglyphics, recorded battles, wars, leaders, winners, soldiers, etc. And as countries invaded other countries, as population or warriors migrated, language changed. So English really is a Germanic language that was brought to Britain by invaders between the 5th and 7th centuries AD. We've got over 1 million words. We only use about 170,000 of them. In fact, most people only use about 35,000 words, but 80% of those words come from another language. So moving around the world germinates language into other languages and affects what we say. So we've got examples from all sorts of different languages, over 300 of them. So even penguin, which is supposedly comes from Welsh, meaning I can't remember if it's whitehead or blackhead. Blackhead it must be. Penguin, pen is head. And one of the biggest effects on our language was 1066. So the Normans, the Norman conquerors came over in 1066 and they spoke a language called Languedoc, which was the language of the East. But Norman literally means men from the north, basically, the Northmen. So the North Scandinavians had invaded France and become the Normans, and the Normans invaded England. So war, invasions, moves language around and changes it. And the top contributors to the English language are Latin, French, Greek, German, etc. So the Romans, the Normans had the biggest effect on the English language, the language that we speak today. So let's look at some of the words that we get and we use every day, or certainly on a regular basis from war. Thank you very much, Abby. Yep. That's just then. So Abby's put about what did the Romans ever do from us, which is from Life of Brian, if you don't know, and that's just reminded me of a Facebook post I saw yesterday, which was had 4,000 comments on it. But it was, what's your favourite ever comedy line? And I just spent about 20 minutes reading through all these classic lines from comedy, and that was one of them. What did the Romans ever do for us? Anyway, let's go back to the words we get from war. So strategy, it's a minefield. So some things that obviously come from war. Calling the shots. So somebody who calls the shots is somebody who's in charge. Really didn't come into language until Second World War, 1943 is the first time we really see this coming in. And it was somebody who literally gave the scores on a shooting range, who actually said what the scores were. So they were in charge of that. So that's where calling the shots come from. And deadline, I wasn't aware of this, but deadline comes from the American Civil War. And it was actually a line drawn around military prisons that if the prisoners went over that line, then they were shot dead. So it was literally a deadline, a line around a prison. And if you went over that line, then you were dead. And obviously that's something that we use on thank you, Heather, front line. Something that we use on a regular basis. Deadlines, we're always up against deadlines, but that's where the origin of that comes from. And we talk about attacking your opponent, defending your position. In business, lots and lots of war language, targeting your customers, rallying the troops to run an ad campaign. We talk about being under fire. And even in a PowerPoint presentation, there we are, we put them all down as bullet points. So language from war, from struggles, comes into English all the time. And this one, flak. So F-L-A-K. Unusual construction for English, but flak comes from, anybody know where flak comes from?
Well,
Shout
flak
it
is
out, Rob.
Debris.
flak is basically, like she said, debris from weapons.
Yep, sort of. Okay. So it comes from German actually. So it's from, some of you may know this, Flugabwehrkanone. So it's basically anti-aircraft weapons.
Right on the tip of my tongue, David.
Yeah, Regeneration. And this first appeared in Navy Air Pilot and Military Aeronautic Review in 1918. So it's sort of end of First World War term. The anti-aircraft batteries of the interior, Flugabwehrkanone in Heimatgebiet, were commanded by an officer called the Inspector der Flak in Heimatgebiet, who was normally called Commander des Heimatsluftschusses, which, as you know, Jerry, means Homeland Air Defences. There we go.
Absolutely.
So flak is literally from fl and a and cut in Flugabwehrkanone, and it sort of came into English really from mid 1930s onwards, 1933, and was used a lot in the Second World War. So we got flak curtains, continuous defensive barrages. We got flak alley, heavily defended airspace. Most famously, and still in use today, flak jacket, which you'll see, press in war zones will wear a flak jacket to defend themselves against flak. You could be flak happy from the stress of flying an aeroplane under fire. And in order to recover, you'd be sent to a flak shack where you would be given flak juice, which was sodium pentothal, as an anesthetic to calm you down. So flak is a word that we do use, that we're familiar with. Flak jacket, we'd recognise what that is, but it comes from warfare as well. And so war has an effect on language, but language can have an effect on war as well, and the way that we see things. So what have we got here? Take the flak. Yeah. Thank you, Abby. So in the First World War, we called the Germans the Hun, as not a term of endearment. So how the Hun hates. And it's really this kind of language which is used is about dehumanizing the enemy. So rather than seeing them as people, and we see in Regeneration and war poetry how the reality of what happened to real people in those situations is brought home. But actually, if you want to rally the troops, rally people at home, then you have to dehumanize the enemy. So you use words like Hun and Bosch and that kind of thing, so that you're comparing them to Cadbury's flat breaks into shrapnel. Heather. Thank you. I don't think that's where Cadbury's flake comes from, but I may be wrong. I've not looked into that. Anyway, Attila the Hun. So with that. And one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter, as they say. So the language that we use to describe people, to describe either side of a conflict, has a big effect on the way that we view them. And language evolves over time. So we see in Regeneration, I'm using the word shell shock, which was what the word that was used, or the expression that was used in the First World War, but we wouldn't talk about that today. We'd talk about post-traumatic stress disorder. So the language is softened over time, potentially. Okay. So war shapes language, but language also can shape war. And probably the most famous, one of the most famous quotes, to jaw jaw is always better than war war. Often attributed to Winston Churchill, but apparently it was actually said by Harold Macmillan. So there we go. Language shaping war, war shaping language, language constantly evolving. And that was Word Corner for October 2025.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Really
Really good.
fabulous. Makes me think. I don't know whether you saw all the posts in there about OLW War and all the stuff in the chat, but thank you everyone for joining in as well. It's lovely to have you here in person, David, and be able to interact with you live.
Thank you. Yeah, oh, what lovely was fantastic. I really enjoyed being in that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good show.
It is, and I've been in various places on guard around the world and singing "Bombed last night, bombed the night before." I'm gonna get bombed. I'm gonna get bombed anymore. Anyway, so Abby and Candice grew up on Over a Lovely War at the age of 5 and 8, if not even younger. But they know it well.
Yes, very well.
And it's still a long way to Tipperary.
And Brother Bertie and all that.
Siegfried line.
Okay, well, I'm very aware that everyone wants to get dug in to this book. I'm going to do a quick PowerPoint, so I'm going to quickly share my screen, but I am going to Kaz is just arriving, so I am going to quickly go through my PowerPoint. Can you all see my PowerPoint there?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So Regeneration, a book that has stuck with me for quite a long time, since 1998 when I read it for the first time. I was 3 years old then, but I had to study it, and it's one that I returned to many times. But the thing that got me more this time was actually the word itself, regeneration. What does it mean? So I thought we'd have a look at a few of the meanings in the book and the inspiration for using the word. And Pat Barker's husband is actually a neurologist, and he was heavily influenced by the real medical experiments of W.H.R. Rivers, who is the doctor in the book. And so that was her immediate inspiration. And then she has always loved or been fascinated by World War One and how it affected people across the world. So regeneration, the physical nerve regeneration, which Rivers does allude to in the story about conducting the experiments and the real experiments that they did, and how we are still using that medical research now, and it's been influential in how our our organ donations and everything has gone on, and growing organs. So it was highly important for the time and still today. Then I was thinking along the lines of regeneration as healing. So again, like David mentioned, shell shock, now understood as PTSD, helping them regenerate their memories. Often they try and block them out to get rid of the psychological pain, but by reliving and confronting their emotional states, they're regenerating those memories. That's another psychological part of it, and how it can also be as painful as the physical surgery, but in obviously a very different way. And the way that sometimes the physical reaction to a psychological event happened as well, which I find fascinating in this book. We also want to look about the morality of the regeneration. Rivers basically has to make the men well enough to go back to combat to again experience horrific things that happened in the war, and should he be doing that? Should he really be curing a soldier to send them back? And this is a central theme in the book as well, the morality of war in itself, which Sassoon, in the one of the real characters in the book, starts the story. Again, how poetry and writing can be an expression of regeneration, so a therapeutical tool to help get through the trauma, but also by writing and reading poetry, people can sort of regenerate themselves and grow and become more than just themselves. They become a voice for people. So I wanted to just have the really brief things, because I know we can talk a lot about this through here, but it's more important what you guys have to talk about in the book and how you've felt about it. But there's a few here that I thought may come across as themes that you might want to talk about. So war and trauma, masculinity and emotions, authority and obedience, morality and conscience, healing and damage, friendship and empathy, and silencing and expression. So one, all, none, whatever takes your fancy. Discuss through the discussion groups. I think we are going to go into 3 groups today. So chat amongst yourselves while I organise breakout rooms.
Always makes everybody go quiet when you say that.
It does, doesn't it? Oh, I've got 3 80s in one group here. That's not good, is it?
No. Hi, Kaz.
Hey. Sorry, I'm late. I completely lost track of time. Suddenly looked up and it was 7:30. I was like, oh no. That's okay.
Right. Jerry was an hour early.
I was just testing. And as soon as I found out you weren't there, I went away. But I hear that.
And I'm 2 months late. Better late than never.
Do the clocks change in the USA, Jerry?
They will in the next week or 2. We're trying to get our Congress to change that.
How many years has that been going on
Hang
for?
on, I don't know what happened there. Ignore that. Oh, hopefully the breakout room says now open, so I'll see you all in about 22. Welcome back, everybody. Does everyone feel that was too short?
Yeah, for sure.
Way too short. So I'm going to ask room 2, which I think was Dennis's group. Who was in your group?
Peter, Sue, and Chris.
Who was your
I,
tribe?
I made a very few notes as we're going along, but um, Sue has finished the book, which we're and so that Peter started listening to the audiobook and has got through to chapter 16 already today. So that's a great thing to do because, as I said, I'm only halfway through listening to it, and Chris is just getting to grips with it now, with getting the synopsis, having finished last month's book, reading others as he always does, and has got through to chapter 4. Did you say, Chris? Something like that. So, yeah. So, I think Peter found that the healing of I can't think of the guy's name when he was unable to speak was quite remarkable, and it's just
Raise.
I'll have to nod unknowingly, so things like that. So it was going there. So yeah, quite a work. We went through your list, Abby, that Sue had put up on on the chat for us very quickly. So yeah, just dropped in and out. So we spoke a little bit about masculinity and emotion towards the end, and how men do show emotion, but we just perhaps show it in a different way to the things. I don't know. Did anybody else make any other notes whilst we were talking about it?
No notes, but
No. Anything else to add then?
no, we went all round the houses really, didn't we? And it was
Yeah.
an interesting conversation. I think the summary is war is a horrible thing, and why do we keep doing it? But that's for another day.
Yeah, definitely. The obviously I was able to pass on the friendship and empathy, things like that, and how I can meet somebody who I haven't seen for 20 years, but we were in a situation somewhere in the world, and we're back in that place, and the rapport is all there. So it's for those guys who actually experience far worse than I ever have, that's for sure. How they stuck together and made it. I don't know. It's amazing. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Lady, David, and Kaz. Is that just the three of you in there?
Was,
Yeah, it was. Well, we started out with the best of intentions, talking about the book. Lady was saying how she read all 3 books. There were 3 books in the series, and that this one was your particular favorite out of the 3. And David got halfway through. Did you say you were about halfway through?
Yeah,
But
about
we
just
kind
over
of
halfway
ended
through.
up talking a bit about war poetry, because obviously we've all read war poetry as part of the school syllabus, but I would have liked there to have been a bit more poetry in the book. But obviously that's a side thing that you can research, isn't it? Obviously it's readily available. They're famous poets. So I guess it was probably lazy on my part by wishing that, because I couldn't be bothered to do the research on the side. I don't know. We were talking about, what were we talking about? We were talking about different methods, therapeutic methods, and how horrifying some of those were back then. Quite terrifying, really. And then what did we get onto? Choral singing as therapy.
Yeah.
We're talking about singing as therapy, weren't we, for a bit?
Yeah, I was talking about the new film, Coral, which I've asked Abby to run the trailer for, because I think that it's quite pertinent. And then we talked about AI.
Yeah, inevitably when David's in the group.
We did mention the film and book Awakenings as well, which is a similar
We
theme.
did.
Yes.
And we found out a secret about Lady, but we'll keep that secret. We won't share that with the group.
Oh, bless. Thank you.
Oh dear.
AI is going to have a massive influence, as it is everywhere, on things. But in conflict and things at the moment, I think we're seeing it already in the Ukraine war. So it's watch that space.
Anything else to add for that? No.
Well, the answer to Dennis's question about which one is cured of mutism is Billy Pryor.
Thank you.
Pryor arrives at Craig Lockhart suffering from mutism after a traumatic battlefield incident.
Yeah.
And the other one is cured of mutism is
Burns.
Private Callan.
Yes.
He's the one that's treated in London. That's a slightly different method.
Slightly different. Couldn't be more different.
I just asked ChatGPT and it told me the answer, Dennis.
Of course. Well done.
The next two books actually follow Billy Pryor throughout
All right.
the next stage. So that's more he's the sort of central fictional character throughout the whole book, so whole series. Okay, well, we were very well disciplined then, if that's all you guys talked about. We really focused in, didn't we? We started talking about how therapy and present day therapy obviously has been extended on from those days. Jerry said that thinks when you presented with the drug therapy often is an impediment to how we could do it, how you could solve problems or help problems. Heather didn't think you can actually cure any sort of PTSD and things. It's more coping mechanisms and how to carry on past the event. I talked about how I talk about everything, and I've never really hidden anything that I experienced in Iraq, and I think that's why I haven't suffered anything particularly. And I think that is obviously the generally accepted way of therapy is talking about things and living through them. So Rivers, his thoughts in this book, whether they are his real thoughts in real life, actually are important and have made a big difference. And also about how communication, obviously the officers developed stutters and the lower ranks became mute, all to do with how they would be treated if they did object to the war, as in the lower ranks would be shot and the officers would probably just be court-martialed or charged of something or other, but different way of treating them. Jerry talked about how the communication has changed now. Back in the day, there was very separate officers and ranks and things, and how he's experienced both, but joining up as the Marines as enlisted and then going to officer training. Is that right, Jerry? Yep, big nod, thank you. And we talked about how warfare.
Well, I also threw in the fact how I was raised as a senior officer's kid, then became a private, and then became an officer again. So I had the opportunity to go full circle, and the word appreciate isn't appropriate, but it's the only thing I can think of to appreciate the different scenarios and situations that people find themselves in and how they relate to others. Not very pretty is what I think I said.
Yeah. We also talked about how warfare today is probably going to develop into IT and AI wars, and as it currently is with Ukraine and Russia. Bruce mentioned about drones being large enough to recover soldiers now, and how people who are doing the attacking by drone are probably if feeling the same sort of effects as the bombers of the day in World War One were feeling when they have to press that button and actually shoot down other people. Then we went into a bit about conscientious objectors, and Bruce's uncle was a conscientious objector. Was this in the Second World War, Bruce? Yeah. I should say I should know that it was not First World War. You're not old enough for that. And he was jailed because of his religious views and how he felt he couldn't be in war because he couldn't kill, and how even after the war it was difficult to get a job because it was known that he was a conscientious objector. And then on the opposite end of the scale, about whether we should fight or not. He had a friend who was part of the Hitler Youth, and originally it was thought of more of a Boy Scouts club, and they joined for a bit of a lark, but quickly realised that they could either, if they didn't want to be part of it, the ways out, or the only ways forward was execution, suicide, or obedience. And he realised that by becoming a successful leader, he could actually protect his own troops in a better way and prevent them from doing the worst atrocities as possible. Even today, the Russians are shooting their own soldiers on the front row if they're objecting, so it's not a thing of the past. And then I opened up the subject of what masculinity is, and we kind of came to the opinion that there shouldn't really be attributes that are assigned gender. Men and women can both be caring, men and women can both be courageous. So there shouldn't be something that is masculine or feminine, despite whether a bridge can be masculine or feminine, David, depending on where the language is. It's I think we also came at it from a very modern point of view, because now we accept that people have different strengths and have those things. But I wanted to point out that back then they joined with the mentality that they were going to go and have a manly activity on the battlefield. And it's on page 107 of my copy. The war that promised so much in the way of manly activity had actually delivered feminine passivity. So there wasn't as much go and kill the Hun as they had originally thought. It was a lot of sitting around and waiting. And Jerry quite aptly said that 90% of war is waiting, 10% is panic when something happens. So that was us in a nutshell.
Cool.
Does anyone in my group want to add anything else on there?
I just hoped that all soldiers stay very, very bored from now on.
I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be a dream, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't mind them not being bored. I just don't want them actually having to go and do it. So it's
Well,
but I know exactly that's what you mean, because you can go through them and be bored. So. But yeah, sadly, we have people around the world that don't want to do that. So but that's good. Thank you, Abby.
I don't think it's going to allow me to play the YouTube clip properly on here for the choral, the song therapy that we're talking, singing as therapy, but I will give it a try. Let me know if you can see it. If not, I will put the link in the email. That looks really good.
Ladies and gentlemen, who would like to play?
So I'm up for watching that.
Yeah, it does look good.
Is it based on a real things, or is it fictional? Do we know?
It might be a bit of both.
They're both. Would everyone like a little break?
Yeah.
Going, yes, please, I need a break. Okay, so I make it 2014. Shall we come back at 20 past? Before we go, I want to take the photo because I'll forget otherwise. So if you have your Regeneration book, is it downstairs, Kaz?
Yeah.
We'll do it when we come back, so then Kaz can go and get it and things.
Sorry.
I am going to pose the Pondering Point. As I mentioned to my group, I've read this book quite a number of times now, partly because I had to study it, but it's one I keep coming back to over and over again. But I would like to know... Sorry?
It's all right. I'm just finding the audio of Regeneration. It keeps playing.
I would like to know what your most read book is. Not one you've had to study and then you've read thousands and thousands of times because you had to keep going back over your notes, but one book that you return to time and time again, and why. So see you at 20 past.
Yeah.
I will crop this bit out, so don't worry. Talk about what you want, but I'll crop it on.
All right. We were just talking about AI sparking ideas when you're writing.
Yeah. It's a great tool. a tool rather than replacement, isn't it? That's what
Yeah.
AI should always be, a tool rather than replace.
Same
I-
as that blog.
Yeah, I said to John yesterday, we could right now decide that AI is going to be terrible, completely shut down, go backwards, almost go back in time, and then years down the line go, oh, thank God we got rid of that AI. Can you imagine where we would have been if we hadn't? Or we do like we have with every other technology, completely embrace it, use it, and it becomes the most useful tool ever. And we, as a human race, build more technologies on top of it and become even more technologically advanced. And we look back and go, thank God we kept AI. It really helped us. But which way do we go?
I saw a clip the other day of someone looking at us after this, obviously imaginary, looking at us after meteors or something, and nuclear things, and the only thing surviving is a library with books.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything else is dead, and everything returns back to books. So that's interesting how that's how my brain went. Books.
Mind you, they're so fragile, you know? Go up in flames so easily, as the Nazis showed us when they burned all those books.
Yes.
And obviously it started in 1950 AI.
Charge.
So
Possibly
a
even
long time. Yeah, I think it were around the first idea of it were around 1950, but it probably were before it. Because I had to do a PowerPoint for my speaking and listening exam, and I had to do it on AI, which was fun. Not as much fun as my trustee one. That
No.
way he's more fun.
That's 6 of us back. Just trying to think how many there are 11 of us. There's 11 of us today. That was really amazing. Nice to have a full quota almost. Kaz, Lady, and who else is missing? Sue. There's Kaz.
I'm here, yeah. Sorry about that. My mother-in-law is around at the moment, so I always end up chatting to her. I try not to, but I do.
That'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There's just
do
Sue
like to
and
natter.
Lady that we're waiting for now. There's Sue. Marvy there. Don't know where she's gone. Where's she gone? She's deserted us. Deserter. Shot at dawn. Okay, well, welcome back. Hopefully everyone is suitably refreshed. Have you got your books handy for our photo? Oh, it's interesting. They look like the new covers. Wow. Has anyone got another book or a front of a Kindle or any book to hold up? Gav, have you got any book?
Well, yeah, no.
Okay, well, we'll just take this one then. So say, oh, I don't know what to say. PTSD.
PTSD.
God.
There we go. It gave an E sound at the end. I was looking for a cheesy sound. That was all. So fantastic. So Pondering Point. Books you continue to return to time and again, and why? I'm going to start with Sue because you're for some reason at the top of my screen.
I've read Harry Potter a few times, but partly because when I was reading it to our son, I wanted to read ahead and then I had to keep going back. So that was the whole series. I've got a book that I have read a couple of times called The Red Tent, which is why do I like it? Well, it's sort of historical and biblical, and I just found it interesting.
Is that Anita Diamond?
Anita Diamant, yes.
Diamond, yeah. Yeah. Fabulous. Kaz?
I feel hard done by because I went to get the book and then you didn't wait for me to hold it up because I couldn't get to the bloody front page.
Do you want to do it again?
No.
You have a different word this time?
I reread the books of Lois McMaster Bujold quite often because I think she's an excellent author. I like science fiction, and they're kind of, for me, they are like a comfort room where I know what's going to happen. And you know the characters are always going to come out landing on their feet, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Chris? You're on mute.
Try again. The author that I return to is Anthony de Mello. He was a Jesuit priest based in India, and he collected funny stories from all the religious traditions, Christianity, Islam, Hindu, Buddhism, and compiled them into various books. The Song of the Bird and The Prayer of the Frog are two of them. The one that I return to for quite a lot is this one, Awareness, and it includes some of his stories, but it's more of the it's the notes one of his students took at a retreat that he led. But it goes very deep into the nature of into human nature and the nature of happiness and so on, and I found that really helpful. But I enjoy the funny stories as well, which is the main reason I go back to them.
Fabulous. Thank you. Jerry?
I have never read a book more than once, with the exception of one, and that was a Bible, and I read that 3 times. So I just not one of those to go back. Now I'll have to keep some of the good ones on my bookshelf, and I will think about them and I'll ponder them, but I've never reread a book.
Okay. Bruce?
So I've got 3 books that probably count as most frequently read. 2 of them are children's books. Well, I suppose all 3 of them are technically children's books. So Going on a Bear Hunt and Bruce on the Loose are the most frequently read books in my house, and my grandkids absolutely adore them both, and they think they're very funny. But The Land, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I would say, is the one book that I've read multiple times. Apart from that, I don't generally read a book more than once. Like Jerry, apart from the Bible, but I haven't read all of that, but I just keep reading similar bits, So
I've got Going on a Bear Hunt going around my head now.
Yes, you can't help it, can you? Can't get over it. Can't get under it.
David?
The book which I've read most often is The Magus by John Fowles. I first read it in 1980, August 1984. I was on my first summer holidays from university, and I spent 3 weeks working as a porter in a pathology department at a hospital, which mostly consisted of sitting around doing nothing, waiting for people to come and want some test tubes or something like that. So I had a good opportunity to read it, and I thought it was great. Really enjoyed it. I was slightly younger, but a similar sort of age to the main character in the book, and then he, without going too much into it, he goes to teach English abroad on a Greek island, and then because I did French at university, I went to teach English in the south of France. So I reread it when I was in the south of France, and it was quite immersive to be in that sort of situation of being away from everybody. So I probably read it 5 times, read it about every 10 years. Read it a couple of years ago again. Give it enough time that I also know what it's about, but I don't really remember all the bits of it. So it's a revelation each time. It's yeah, that's the one book that I've probably read 5 times, and we'll read again at some point.
Fabulous. Peter?
For me, it's the child called It by Dave, because it a very similar background to myself, and I just inspired by David Pellet's books.
Fabulous. Heather?
Well, I was going to say I never read a book twice, but of course we always think of fiction books. I read a recipe book, loads, and my nutritional value book I have to dip in at loads. And at the moment, I'm heavily making my way through an SPSS book, dipping in and out regularly. So reference books, yes. But as for fiction, I think the only one is that we got a pop-up time book, and it's all on time in all its various forms. And my grandson insists that we open that because it's got little doors and things like that. And we make the characters, and he'll make me do that 50,000 times over. So I think it's kids that make us read a book more than once.
Yeah.
Dennis?
Okay, apart from Enid Blyton's famous 5 series, which I've read countless times as a child, my children's classics, which I reread a couple of years ago, which I mentioned at a previous meeting. There's a book that Lady and I probably read 15, maybe 20 years ago. Started off as a trilogy called the Farseer Trilogy by Robin Hobb. And then there's a follow-on series, which is another trilogy. And I've read those 3 times now. I just wanted to read it on my own after having read it with Lady, and then we went on from there. So yeah, Robin Hobb,
The Apprentice.
Royal Assassin, yeah, The Apprentice, very good.
Well,
Me? Well, like Jerry, A Night Before Christmas, but I also collect A Night Before Christmas books, which I got about 30. And today I bought 2 of them. I bought this one, and which has even got a little CD in it. It's the first CD I've got of that. And then this one, my buys of today. And I just love how differently they illustrate it. So this is a very modern illustration right the way through. And yeah, so I get to the point now where I'm thinking, have I got that book or not? Or had that version of? But for just really pleasure, an Amanda Quick called Mystique is my go-to for just to really zone out. It's a historical romance. I know exactly what's going to happen, particularly because I've read it again and again and again. But to me, it's like a film going. The way she writes, I can picture every single scene. So to me, I run it like a film, even though I'm reading it.
Fab.
Right?
And mine, I think that's everybody apart from me. I tend to go back to the Clan of the Cave Bear series. I know my mother will go, "Oh, I don't like those books," but I just connected with them, and I liked the journey. I liked the fact that Isla, the main protagonist, is put into the clan, and she's so different from them, and she has to learn to adapt. And by being so different, but not just accepting the status quo, she sort of develops greater senses, and her language skills become greater. And as she goes through the books and she meets people of her own kind, these language skills are heightened. And I just think the language side of it was really interesting, but it also bases on what we think we know of Neolithic man, and of the findings we've found of little dolls and flint heads and things. And I remember going, when I was in Australia, I went on a Aboriginal, the Indigenous Australian technically, but they still called it Aboriginal back then, trail, and they showed us some of the weapons and things that were used, and they were like, oh, someone show me how to use this. I picked it up, went and used it straight away because I'd read the description in this book of how it should work, and they just stared at me as though, how on earth have you worked that one out so quickly? So I like the fact that there is little elements of realism in there, and there's obviously J. Moore has done a lot of research into Neolithic man to write the stories, but it is fiction, and it's a love story going through it, and I know what's going to happen as well. So really easy to read. So yeah, fabulous. So it's really interesting to see what other people read all the time, but I have quite a few that I do. I'm going to give you a break from my voice a little bit. I'm going to go to books and news before we go to antics, just so that I have a little bit of a rest as well. So I'm
apart from pressing the button.
Yeah, apart from pressing the button, but resting my voice. Let me know when you can see the screen.
I can see that now. What's in the news? So if we slide on to the next slide, keep news. This is thanks to Abby Rose, who sent me a link on this one. Dyslexia-friendly editions. Bloomsbury have proud to announce their new range of dyslexia-friendly editions. Apparently, in a publishing first, there are 11 iconic best-selling adult books now available in a format designed to support with adults with dyslexia. And you can see some of the things. I don't know any of those books that were mentioned up there, but they are available and have been since last Thursday, the 23rd of October, which is really good. And as many of you know, Lady helps a lot of dyslexic authors in her work, so that's great. They say their aim with these books is simple: more readers, more often with fewer barriers. And together with our pilot in 2024, they now have 20 dyslexia-friendly editions to choose from. So you can see there's a link to a LinkedIn item which I've got on from there. So that's good moving forward, and I'm sure there will be many more. Next slide, please, Abby. Women-only reading retreats. Anybody agree with the women-only reading retreats? Apparently, it's more relaxed than an activity break and more sociable than a yoga getaway. Reading retreats have become increasingly popular in the past year. They're exactly what they say on the tin. Book club, but in a more luxurious setting than your living room, or even on a Zoom call. But they're probably not as much fun as our nights. And they have a few excursions and activities thrown in. So one trip hosted by the Women Only Online Book Club, Ladies Who Lit, guests have travelled as far as America for a few relaxed days of reading, and various other places. So it was founded in 2022 by a lady called Megan Christopher. So if you fancied a book retreat, you ladies, you can go and do that. So by the end of this year, she will have hosted 21 sold-out retreats from the Cotswolds to the Caribbean. Obviously, you don't want to be in Jamaica today. I hope and pray that people are surviving that little hurricane that they've got. Hardly little, I know. So, but that's good. So, next slide there, Number Rose. Apparently, there's a children's book prize coming in 2027, supported by the AKO Foundation. It's the first children's prize for fiction that the charity has now gone on. Bookers prizes have been rewarded and celebrated world-class talent for over 55 years, helping to shape the canon of 20th and 21st century literature. And we'll see. Gabby Wood, Chief Executive of the Booker Prize Foundation, says, the Children's Booker Prize is the most ambitious endeavour we've embarked on in 20 years. We hope its impact will resonate for decades to come. It aims to be several things at once: an award that will champion future classics written for children, a social intervention designed to inspire more young people to read, and a seed from which we hope generations of lifelong readers will grow. I'm sure we all echo those thoughts. So the judging process from the multi-award-winning children's book author and screenwriter Frank Cottrell Boyce, who's the current Waterstones Children's Literature Laureate, will become the inaugural chair of the judges for panels for the prize. And so we're going to see. We'll putting children's books at the centre of their culture. So maybe we should all think about that. Michael Morpurgo, who we all know and love from various things, who was children's laureate for 3 years, 2003 to 2005, says, "A book for children, great news for children and books. And it comes at a moment when there is much anxiety about the enjoyment of reading among our young. The Booker Prize for Children will stimulate interest and excitement in books amongst children and amongst grown-up children too. I hope you can classify yourself as a grown-up child. I think we can do that. So very good. A Booker Prize on its way. Next slide, please, Emma Rhodes. Penguin Books Little Book Stops. To celebrate the 90 years of reading moments with Penguin, they have installed 90 little book stops across the UK. And as you can see, each one is looked after by a volunteer steward who keeps the space tidy and well stocked with exciting books for all ages to enjoy. And so in partnership with the non-profit Little Free Library, Penguin have selected 90 lucky applications from over 2,000 applications. And for those local to us in Sleaford / Newark / Heckington, etc., the nearest one, I believe, is in Claypole Village Hall, Claypole, which is a small village about 12 miles from here where we live. So that's a nice little thing. There are obviously dotted 90 stores around the world. And when I know there's one in Hull because that's how I found the link to start with, but we moved on from there. And the chief brand officer at Penguin said we're delighted to have received so many applications for 90 little book stops. It was difficult to select the final locations. Books and reading are a great way to build connections and create communities. And the sheer amount of interest we received shows just how much people are looking for this. So maybe in other years they'll have other little book stops. So maybe that will just pique your interest in the future.
I've read 9 of those books in that little bookstop.
Sounds like, yeah, but you were at Penguin for a month.
That's true.
Next slide then, please. So the story behind the spy stories. This exhibition shows the secrets of John le Carré's craft and how the author researched his plots and letters, which is from Alec Guinness in an Oxford exhibition. So as I said, betrayals and spying are, of course, the dominant themes of his Cold War novels, featuring his hero George Smiley, themes which Cornwell, who is the real John le Carré, died a couple of years ago, I think. He experienced them first in fact and then in fiction. After spending national service in the Army's Intelligence Corps, he was offered a place at Lincoln College, Oxford. Obviously, he's at his alma mater, which is where they've got this moving, and you can go and see the exhibition in the Oxford University's Bodleian Library, which is really good. So
Where
after
Emma
his
Smith works.
sorry?
Where Emma Smith works.
Emma Smith works there, yeah. So the exhibition includes caricatures he sketched for the college publication, The Lincoln Imp, and there are articles written for the journal Oxford Left, and his fellow contributors were among those on whom Cornwell passed information to MI5, one of his first tasks for the agency. One, he said, he later regretted. So if you're into your spyware and other things and can get a day trip to Oxford, that might be for you. Next slide, please, Emma Rose. Gillian Anderson and Julia Donaldson have been shortlisted for the 2025 Books on My Bag Readers Awards. So the shortlist, the only book awards created by bookshops and voted for by readers. The Readers Awards are sponsored by National Book Tokens and are now in their 9th year. Books Are My Bag is the nationwide campaign that celebrates and supports the vital role of bookshops within local communities. Seems to be a theme here today.
Mm.
So Gillian Anderson, curator of Want, said she's delighted Want has been shortlisted for the Readers Award. From the outset, her ambition for this book was always to amplify women's voices and help their stories reach the widest possible readership. And Julie Donaldson, author of Gozzle, which has been the one that's nominated. What wonderful news to hear that Gozzle have been shortlisted for the Readers' Award. This award is particularly meaningful as I know the shortlist is curated by booksellers who do so much for authors and illustrators and who work tirelessly every single day to connect readers with stories. And she thanks them. So the full shortlist includes fiction, non-fiction, poetry, young adult fiction, children's fiction, picture books also, and Newcomer of the Year, which were good. They will be announced on Tuesday, the 4th of November, as you can see there. So maybe next month I'll tell you who won. So I'll go for that. And the last slide, literary dates for this month. 1st of November is National Book Lovers Day. And you can read those when you go. Edinburgh Book Festival I mentioned last month as well. It's their last one-day Edinburgh Fair of the year, held at Augustine Church Hall on the 8th of November. Anyone wants to go there? Jerry, the 18th of November, High Five and Librarian Day is for you, because I know we do high five over here, but not as much as you do your side of the pond. And books coming up. As you can see, Nash Falls by David Baldaco. After his estranged father's funeral, Nash, a high-level worker in an investment firm, is recruited by the FBI to investigate his company. Cynthia Erivo, as we know, plays the role of Elphaba in the movie musical Wicked. Is her new memoir. So didn't think she'd be old enough to write a memoir yet, but they seem to be doing it younger and younger. So Simply More, it's called. And then Sir Anthony Hopkins, born and raised in Port Talbot, a small Welsh steelworks town, amid war and depression. Anthony Hopkins writes his own little thing entitled "We Did Okay, Kid." It's his memoirs, so it's good. As long as he doesn't go into Hannibal Lecter whilst he's there, we'll be fine. And that's it. The last slide says join Book Academy today. So please bring your friends and colleagues along. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Booksellers definitely run. Oh, and Heather's is a little penguin little bookstop in Sheffield, located in Homefield Park. And Andy Hopkins could be a good book of the month for us, and yeah, could be one we do next year because we're planned out for this year, Sue. So I hope it could be a good one to do, as we'd like to do a biography every now and then. Abby's Antics, I'm going to go straight into it. So it's a very quick one today. So hopefully you let me know when you can see it. You will potentially need a pencil. Okay. So I was walking through the living room on Monday morning thinking, what on earth am I going to do for Abby's Antics?
Have you got something to say about it?
I know. I've just seen it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
I was walking through the living room going, what on earth am I going to do for Abby's Antics this month? And then there was a program on the TV called Iris. Is that what it's called, girl? Like a spy crimey thing going on, and they were using a book as a cipher. It had a key code to everything. And I thought, that kind of works quite nicely with Regeneration, with spyware and the Enigma and lots of things like that, although it's a different war. But I thought, let's have a go. So, books as clues. Apparently, book ciphers are one of the hardest hardest ways to crack to have a code, because if you don't have the right book, the right edition of a book, right page number, or what the cipher is, it is quite tricky to work anything out. But I'm going to keep it nice and simple for you. Here it is. Here's a cipher that we're going to be using. So, for example, 221 goes to the second line, the second word, and the first letter. So this one, if you spell it all out, goes to C.
My head hurts already.
T and a full stop. I knew this wouldn't appeal to you, but you're not the only one here. So I've only done a short one. It's only think 8 letters long for the next page. So you're using the first digit is the line, the second digit is the number of words, and the third digit is the letter in that word. So I have chosen regeneration, and there are only 8 letters to work out. So I shall give you a little bit of time to see if you can work out what the word is.
And you have to use your brains for this. You can't use AI.
So can anyone work out what 891 is?
C.
Sorry?
C.
Nope.
No, what am I doing?
R.
I'm doing it wrong.
R. It is R. Well done. 916.
E.
E.
E. 1125.
G.
V. V for Victor.
V for Victor. 1312.
E.
E. 14112.
I.
I. 17104.
W.
You're just guessing.
L.
I think it's reviewer.
L.
Reveal.
2134.
Revealer. E.
L.
L.
I think you got the last
The
one wrong.
valet.
S.
2578.
25. 1, 2, 3, 4. 7. Oh, yeah.
Valet.
River Valley. So there they all are. R, D, E, I, L, L, E. River Valley.
I'm so
done.
glad we don't have that.
Yes, I'm not playing it now. So thank you very much for joining in. And don't guess, because if you guess the code, you're likely to send 3 and 4 pence because you're going to a dance.
Hey,
Interesting.
just to point out, Lady won't even watch things like George Smiley, John le Carre because it's too confusing.
Interestingly, on our cruise ship, on each deck, they used a flag cipher with quotes from authors, including Hemingway, for example, and they were all to do with the sea.
Oh.
Maybe that sounds like an antic one day.
You have to
Heather's
go on the
antics.
cruise.
Oh, okay.
Fabulous. Okay, over to you, David, for word of the month. Well done, Sue.
Okay. Let's have a look. Oh, am I off mute? Yeah. Right, okay. Put you up there, out of the way. Going to word of the month. There are we. So, word of the month last month was Morgan Muffle. Morgan Muffle, somebody who's grumpy in the morning. There's no absolute direct translation, but grump in the morning. Often associated with cats. They're quite Morgan Muffly, unlike dogs who are very springy in the morning. And Lady, I think, shared some images of what might be Morgan Muffles. I think this was my favourite, the elephant with its ears over its
It's a rabbit.
face. I assume that's an elephant. It's a rabbit, yeah. I was thinking as I said elephant, I'm not sure where his trunk is anyway. A rabbit with his ears over his... Yeah, he's got the right kind of ears for a rabbit as well. Anyway, there we go. Morgan Muffle it was last month. What is the word of the month for October? Here we go. So we've talked about generations and language, and we've done some Gen Z words before. So anyway, have you come across this one?
6-7. 6-7.
6-7. There we go. I thought there would be one person, maybe two, on this call who would know what 6-7 is. There you go, 6-7, and you got the action as well. Absolutely brilliant. There we go. Everybody else, or pretty much everybody else, is going, "What the heck is that?" and it doesn't mean anything. This is a word that really doesn't mean anything. It's just a word. It's just a word that Gen Z and younger Gen Alpha are using.
Is it a word if it's numbers?
If you
Pardon?
write it out in letters, yes.
Is it a word if
Right,
it's
6, 7.
numbers?
Yeah, well, is 7 a word?
Not if it's a number.
Ignore her.
What do they? Yeah, give us a definition of a word there. Anyway, let's move on. It comes from originally, apparently, a song by Skrilla. Now, Skrilla, as I'm sure you all know, is a rapper, 25 years old from Philadelphia, very big in the drill music scene, as I'm sure Dennis is aware. I'm sure he's into his drill music. That's not drill hall. That's a different kind of drill music. Anyway, it's from the song Doot Doot. There we go. Which is where it originates. And then it was popularized really sort of start of this year by the Ice Cream Hair Kid, who most of you won't see, but this is the Ice Cream Hair Kid. And it was simply a video of a basketball match. And it shows a bit of the basketball and then goes to him and he says 6-7 and he does the action. 6-7, 6-7. And it became a meme and it went wild on TikTok. And it's partly used for basketball, partly used to relate to LaMelo Ball, who's a basketball player who happens to be 6'7". That's not the reason it's 6'7". That just is tangentially there. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a word. It's just a word. And Abby's already got the accompanying hand gesture, which she's going to do again now. 6-7. Like you've got two things in your hands that you're weighing. That's it. 6-7, 6-7. So I'm going to try and show you a little video of some. So this is in schools. You'll hear this all the time. Young children, you'll hear this. 6-7. It's just is random. It can be put anywhere. It doesn't mean anything, but it's a very popular word. It'll probably in 6 months' time have disappeared, although it has been hanging around for all of this year, and it is quite popular. So I'm just going to show you a teacher in America. We'll go over to the United States, who's made a song out of 6-7 and a couple of words that we came across when we looked at Gen Z slang before. Skibbity from Skibbity Toilet, and Ohio, meaning weird or creepy or cringe. Anyway, she's shoehorned these words into a song about 6-7. So I'm hoping that I'm going to stop sharing and reshare so I can optimize for video. I didn't do that first time, so share again. And you see the joy of these children as they sing a song about 6-7. I'm going to share that. Go there. I'm going to hope that you can all hear this absolutely fine. I'm going to move that out of the way and go here. So here we are. No, that's Zoom. That's not it. It's there. This is children singing about 6-7. There we go. 6-7. Skibbity, Ohio. I think it was a Big Mac, Ohio. It might have been a Big Fat Ohio. I wasn't quite sure. I couldn't find the lyrics of that anywhere. But yeah, there we go. Word of the month. One of the more unusual ones. Oh, but it does allow you, if your children say this to you or your grandchildren or anybody you come across says 6-7, then you can use the old joke. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Abby knows this. She's going to
7,
tell you.
8, 9.
There we go.
That's about one of the only jokes I ever remember.
Anyway, word of the month for October. 6-7. 6-7.
So it's our challenge to find a word or make up a word that means nothing then.
Absolutely nothing.
If you can get that going as viral and as well known as 6-7, you'll be doing well.
Nothing is a word that means nothing.
6-7.
Nothing.
Yeah, they are saying it everywhere. It's really frustrating and really annoying. But it's if you make it part of your speech, that it loses all coolness and they stop doing it. It's brilliant. Oh, fabulous! Thank you for word of the month. I love it. 6-7. Anybody got any news they would like to share with us all? Shout it out loud. Nothing?
I do. I have a
Oh, go.
show on the 8th at Southwell. Southall?
Southall?
Is it Southall or is it
Southwell.
Southwell? I've always said Southwell, but then recently people have been saying to me, it's Southall. I'm like, no, that's in London. Anyway, yeah, I'm doing the Christmas on the 8th Christmas market show in Southwell.
8th of November.
Yeah. I've got a stall in the chaplain's thing. It's not in the main church, in the main minster, let's say.
Is
But
there a
yeah.
link? Can you send us a link?
I don't know. Just look it up on the Cathedral Minster website.
And if you haven't seen already, she's got some beautiful fleece blankets, which everyone needs to buy because they are just gorgeous and fluffy and cozy.
Do you want me to go and get one? Show you?
Yes, please.
Oh.
And
Yeah, go
what's she
get
doing?
it, Kaz. When you come back, we will have gone.
Whilst everyone's doing that, and we've already mentioned it once before, but we do have our charity book sale on the 22nd of November in Ancaster Village Hall. And that meeting next month, we can tell you all about it. We're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the books that actually leaving.
Get a pictures.
Of
Yes, we'll
pictures
take
of the
some
books
photos.
in the house, and then the books in the hall, and then all the books gone.
So what's the population of Ancaster?
Well, we've put out about 500, 600 flyers.
Yeah, it's about 3,000 people, I think now.
Right.
Like
so and you got 4,000 books. So long as everybody buys 8 books, you'll be all right.
Yeah, we pushed it a little bit wider as well on the internet. So hopefully people will come. I'm hoping the people who've given us all the books will come and buy some of them back.
Not the same ones, I hope.
Not the same ones, yeah.
All of them are like, we'll come, but we'll try not to buy them all back.
Yeah, people don't read the same book twice, do we?
No, they don't.
No.
They do if they've forgotten that they've read it.
Except
that's really frustrating, though, isn't it? When you pick up a book by an author that you like, and you start reading it, and you go, "Oh no, I've read this before. I know what's going to happen."
Yeah.
Loads of
That's
people
really-
who've given us books have said, we're coming to the book sale, but we're going to try very hard not to buy back the books that we've given you.
You got it there, Kaz?
Yeah. Oh, I've got a few. I've got loads more than this, obviously, but these are some of my favourites.
Wow.
Gorgeous.
So all all Kaz's illustrations.
Mm.
And I got this too. Brought this one up. I don't know if you
Oh.
can really see them, can you?
Mm. We can.
Yeah, we can.
They've all got
Gorgeous.
like a fluffy back. They're very
And
soft.
Kaz is having a stall at the book sale as well. So will you be bringing those as well?
Yeah. Whatever's left after the 8th, I'll bring it.
Oh, the cow one. The cow's the
There you
winner.
go, Bruce. Cow in the field, just for you.
That's only 3. I've got a whole box full. There's loads of them. Loads. But hopefully there won't be after the show.
Yeah. Fingers
I
crossed.
hope there'll be a sellout.
I think the cows will be really popular because people love a Highland cow, don't they?
I know, maybe I should have got more than one of those. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see.
Abby, you've put extra in the chat. Is that?
Yeah.
I can remember back in what would that be? 1985 when I lived in France. There was a Scottish girl that was over there as well, and she used to say extra, meaning really good. Oh, extra. That meant really good.
I think it's one of those things because people were
40
saying
years ago.
Yeah, it's come back round. It's so. I was watching Mean Girls the other day on TV, and one of the girls in Mean Girls tries to make the word fetch. I say, "Oh, it's so fetch." The word that, and people just go, "Just get over it. It's never going to happen," and it's really funny. So, but I like that one. Fetch is fetch, and then obviously because of that being knocked down in the show, obviously it's the word that everyone remembers from it. So. Anyone else got any fabulous news? No. ChatGPT seemingly can't find an S. Huh. Okay. The flag ciphers.
Yep.
Christmas. The night before Christmas. Or something like that. Okay, well, moving on to our next books. So our next meeting is November the 25th, and we are looking at How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. 6/7. Hardback and paperback. So
the reason we've got two is
this one turned up today by a donation of books. So, which we're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So yeah, it is non-fiction, and I'm really looking forward to reading it because I have not read it, so it'll be the first reading for me. But Matt Haig has done lots of other books, The Midnight Library. He's got a new one called Impossible Life at the moment, but this one has won awards and things in the past as well, and it's a Sunday Times bestseller. I will put all these.
You say non-fiction.
No, sorry, fiction. Fiction. This is fiction again.
I'm going to say no.
You can't stop time.
Surely
you can't
not.
stop time.
Surely not.
No, you can't stop time. No, it's fiction. I meant to say it's not non-fiction because that's usually a question.
There's one that was also recommended to me by my chiropodist, who had it recommended to her and enjoyed it.
Yep, and there's a little bit of poetry inside there as well. And you were going to go and buy it, weren't you? And I was like, you don't need to buy it. And she's like, no, I don't. I do. I'm like, no, I have it. So I saved you £7, Gov.
Yeah, I've just spent on
something else.
Other books like The Night Before Christmas.
Another two copies of The Night Before Christmas, which
Yeah.
will far exceed £7. I'll guarantee it.
No, one was £1.99 and one was £3, I think,
Yeah.
or less than £3.
We'll see. I
Thinking
need to
about it.
I need to buy a new bookcase just for The Night Before Christmas.
Thinking about it, I actually sort of have book news because I can't come next month because I'm attending a book launch for Mums in Need, the charity. Some of our mums have been writing some poetry, and the book is called Right to Be Heard.
Nice.
And so it'll be launching on the 25th of November.
Ah, so you're not here.
And that's why I won't be here next time. I hadn't really connected it as book news, but it is, of course,
It's definitely book news.
Book news. Yeah.
Just send a link to the book if you can. That'd be great. So that
I do have some news. I forgot all about it. I participated in an anthology that is part of the San Diego Writers and Editors Guild.
Yeah.
And I have 3 short stories in that anthology. So that came out and we had a big launch last week and it was a big success.
Lovely. Well done. Congratulations.
Good. An echo going on here. Kaz, how was your writing competition that you were doing?
It's this weekend. Wish me luck. It's this weekend.
I've decided that I haven't got time to write this time, so I'm not doing it. But it looked really good. There's a night fiction.
You've got to apply for the early bird, really, because otherwise it gets really expensive if you leave it till the last minute.
Yeah, can do.
But anyway.
Okay, so that is November the 25th, How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. Then thank you for everyone who participated in the poll of what days they could do for December. So I say most people, the most popular vote date was December the 30th. So it will be a Betwixtmas meeting. So thank you for that. And it kind of works quite nicely for what we are going to be looking at, because we will be in it and we'll be looking at the 12 days of Christmas. Now, there are thousands of different versions of the 12 days of Christmas. There is the traditional one. I know I've got Australian ones, Florida ones. I think it doesn't actually have to be a book. If you don't want it to be in a book format, it can be in a tea towel form if you have it in a tea towel. Whatever format you like of the 12 days of Christmas, bring it along and we will celebrate all joyous things. We may even have a sing-song. So
You can buy a 12 Days of Christmas tea towel on my website, which I designed myself.
Well, there we go. Is that like your jigsaw puzzle?
Yes.
Yeah,
I know it never made it to jigsaw puzzle.
never made it to jigsaw puzzle.
It went on a tea towel instead.
And on a tea towel instead. There we go. So you have to post that next time, or bring it bring a copy with you on the thing if you're available to make it on the 30th of December. And then looking forward into 2026, we are passing the baton over to you a little bit to take control of what we're doing and when. So Heather has very, very kindly said that she will do January's for us. And so the book in January will be Like Water for Chocolate. Is that correct? By Laura Esquivel. Because no one said to me that they couldn't do the dates that I put down, suggested months that they were, I'm assuming everyone is fine for those. But if you haven't looked at it, please do look at it and let me know if you can't lead that. You can choose the book. We would like you to do like a little bit of an introduction about the book before we go into discussions, and just have a passing it over to you for a little bit rather than listening to me talk all the time, which will most of you will be going, yay, thank goodness for that. We have managed to get an actual author in February. Her name is Sarah Tarlow, and she has written a book called The Archaeology of Loss. She is an archaeologist by profession, and this book is inspired by the loss of her husband, but it does talk about loss in general. And she's spent her life, or her professional life, looking at how humanity deals with loss on a front. So we will be having Sarah Tarlow in February as our live author, and then potentially another live author in May. I'm just got to confirm that date as well. So we're beginning to get some authors back in onto our schedule. So I'll just quickly run through the schedule. If anyone has any, like, oh, I could definitely can't do that, let me know. So Chris, I've got you down for March.
Should think that'd be all right.
Fab. Kaz, April.
I have no idea.
At the moment you're okay. Okay. Jerry, June. He's on the phone. I'll come back to you. Sue, could you do July, do you think? Or is that not a good month for you normally?
You're on mute, Sue.
Possibly, but I haven't booked in my holidays yet, so I will put it. Will it be sort of the last Tuesday?
The last Tuesday. Okay. Well, I'm going to say last Tuesday, no matter what, so that we don't get confused on Tuesdays. So if there's 5 Tuesdays, it will be the last one. If there's 4 Tuesdays, it will be the
last one.
Yeah. So in July, the last Tuesday is the 28th.
28th, yeah.
I've got Bruce down for August. Does that sound something like you could do, Bruce?
It's a bit far ahead for me too.
Far ahead of you?
For sure, yeah.
Okay. Well, have a look, and if suddenly gets to the point where you don't think you can do, we might swap you in and out as and when. But Chris, if you could do March, that would be super duper. At least then we've got the first 3 months sorted of the year. Great. Oh, we've run over a little bit, but everyone seems very pleased to be here still. So that's lovely to have, and it's so nice to have so many of you here. It's we've had 6, 7 recently, so nice to have 11 of us. I don't think 6, 7. 11. I don't think there's anything cool with 11 unless you're talking about Stranger Things, and then 11 is the name of the main character.
11 is sign language. 11.
Didn't we used to say I'm all at 6s and 7s?
Yeah.
Have we all forgotten that?
No.
Yeah.
But it's not that they're doing.
That meant
that's got meaning.
That has got meaning.
Back in the day, we had words that had meaning.
You had some that didn't have meaning.
Everything is just meaningless.
Right. So thank you.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Abby. Thank you, David. Thank you, Dennis. And thank you, everyone, coming. It's been good. Really good night. Thank you.
Thanks, folks. See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye 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 bye. Good to see you.
Bye.